Well, what's up, my fellow revolutionaries? Welcome back to another video, which is going to be more philosophical. I know in the last one we talked about books, and yeah, the series is going on, and yeah, it's soon gonna be here. But today I wanted to get into something I saw back on Instagram and Twitter. I don't go too much on Twitter, but on Instagram definitely, which is I saw people promoting Marxism and communism again. And I think we are at that time of the year where people get back to good old Das Kapital and the Communist Manifesto and decide that, oh, we're gonna change the world now. But what struck me the most is that few of my actual friends or a few of people I used to know started promoting this as well. People who I've never really taken to be the political types, if you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying these people are dumb in any sense. I'm not saying they're politically illiterate. I just always got the feeling that they weren't really into politics that much, or they weren't like directly, you know, that they weren't really the people who would go up to politicians and at rallies and stuff like that. People who I always consider to just kind of like be like, yeah, politics, okay, I don't really care, right? And suddenly you see these people promoting ideologies which are questionable to be nice or to be respectful to them. And that made me thinking, why is it that people who are not political or are not very political or don't really interest themselves that much in the politics often find themselves supporting radical systems or radical belief systems? Communism, fascism, anarchism, and anarcho-capitalism. I think that's the fourth one of the four basic horsemen of the apocalypse, right? And you find people on all over the internet supporting this. People who scream, we should abolish the government, or we should eat the rich people, or shit like that, right? And again, it made me think, why do people fall for these ideologies when we have clearly shown they don't really fucking work? And the only explanation, or one of the best explanations I came up with, is that in my opinion, it's sort of a way you still don't care about politics, but it kind of seems like you do. And let me kind of get to it. For example, a person who really wants to find a political ideology or a political belief which is connected with the belief system he has is never going to find a stable one. We are always going to have to make a compromise because politics is not precisely about us. For example, me, I don't have an exact political system, and let's be quite frank here, I do not really care that much about politics because I do not have a system that could perfectly align with my belief system or my set of values that I have, and therefore I can be whatever the fuck I want, and I sort of agree with all the theories and disagree at the same time, if you know what I'm saying. And I don't want to pick an extreme and just go with it. But these people who don't really think about it this way, people who just kind of go through their life with their brains on airplane mode, they like to just pick an extreme and just go with it because it's much more easier than to actually think about it, right? If you decide for an extreme, if you decide, well, I'm gonna be a communist tomorrow, you exactly know what you're supposed to fight for, and to a certain extent, you do agree with some of the things, the rest you just agree with because you find it sound, and you think that the theory must work because you support it, and then there's, of course, shit ton of evidence on the internet that supports your claims, and there is also another shit ton that doesn't support, but we just ignore that, right? We stick to the evidence that supports it. And then these people, in order to seem political, in order to seem educated, and in order to seem that they have actually made the choice consciously, they start posting this all around. And the wave begins again, Somebody is on Instagram very bored because it's the quarantine and shit, and he sees a communistic post. And he's like, communism, what is that? And he starts researching a bit about it, and it's like, that's a good theory. And starts following it too. First, very, very passively. He doesn't post, or she doesn't post. She doesn't post anything, doesn't really engage in discussions, is not overly protective about the belief. But slowly and steadily, like cancer, it spreads and spreads and spreads until it inhibits the entire body. and then the person becomes another washed up, um, well, whatever, communist supporter, and just posts and goes into discussions and argues with people and drumpf and people bad and rich people even worse. You get me? And this doesn't happen only with communism. I think the same process applies to fascism, anarchism, and anarcho-communism, anarcho-capitalism, down in the right corner. That people just don't really think about what they're saying, and they just want to seem political. So they choose a radical political ideology which is easy to follow and easy to argue about, and whoever doesn't believe in them, well, that guy's obviously stupid and hasn't thought about it at all. People who actually choose political beliefs that are not the extremes have to at least give it a time of the day, have to at least think about it a little, what they are doing and what they are choosing to believe in. I still don't believe that you should just stick to a political belief for the end of your life, because what is that gonna bring you at the end of the day? And I'm not gonna do it at any reasonable time or in the near future, right? But it's much easier to find an extreme and to just follow it than to actually think about your values and what you stand for as a human. Human, yeah, human is enough, and what you believe in, and based on that, picking your new political system or picking whom to believe in. So it all boils down to laziness. I could have just said that at the beginning of the video and spared us all 5 minutes of our time. But yeah, thank you anyways for watching. Leave a like or a dislike. Dislike probably if you're the Gestapo about to arrest me for what I said. But yeah, whatever. See you soon.